you noticed the fact that every new movie that you watch is trying to be the next Saltburn? So don't be surprised when Dr. Doom strips down naked, prancing to murder on the dance floor in the next Avengers movie. Okay, I may have over-exaggerated with that, however that one scene in Saltburn has kind of started a trend that a lot of new movies have followed. Now I'm Cozzer P, just a random guy obsessed with movies, and I'm here to uncover the real reason this is the case. And it all starts with a needle drop. Now, the definition of a needle drop moment where a filmmaker uses a pre-existing song to add to the atmosphere of a certain sequence of the film. Now, this certainly isn't a new concept invented by Emerald Fennell, because you may not realise that one of the most famous scenes in all of cinema is actually a needle drop. And the scene in which I'm referring to is the opening scene of 2001: A Space Odyssey. You know, the one with the monkeys and that huge cube that just appears out of nowhere when they start smashing up the bones? Because the song they use in this scene is, bear with me, also Sprach Zarathustra. Also Zarathustra.
Also Sprach Zarathustra.
That's what I meant. And this is a song that was composed in 1896, over 70 years before the release of 2001: A Space Odyssey, but I guarantee when you hear this song, you think of that scene. Or at least a scene which is parodying or referencing that 2001: A Space Odyssey scene. Now, you're probably thinking of all of your favourite needle drops in different movies that you've seen, which could include the Kingsman Freebird sequence, or maybe even the Reservoir Dogs Stuck in the Middle with You. And most recently, I feel like a lot of Marvel fans have Deadpool and Wolverine's Bye 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 scene stuck in their head. However, a movie that really stands out to me, which is also Marvel, is Guardians of the Galaxy. Specifically Volume 2, because it is my favourite out of the 3, and I feel like it utilizes its music way better than the other two. However, I wouldn't say this is an example of what Saltburn was trying to do. While there are many iconic songs that are in this movie, and a lot are very memorable, like the Come and Get Your Love sequence from the beginning of the first one, none of them specifically stand out over the rest of them. Every single song works in every scene as a way to further the story and understand the characters better, because James Gunn isn't using a single song for you to remember that song. He wants you to remember the movie as a whole. He wants you to remember Groot's sacrifice. He wants you to remember how Star-Lord went from basically being a no one, having no friends, to being a part of a family. Where Saltburn has some great storytelling, but it's slightly overshadowed by that final sequence. But what really is the significance of this one scene in Saltburn? Well, I think I have the answer, and it's social media. Because now viral marketing plays such a crucial part in the success of a movie. Just look at the smile marketing, or even more recently, Venom: The Last Dance.
Give me the milk! Caliente!
It's quite a questionable piece of marketing, but people spoke about it because it looks questionable. And you have a very similar effect with using a song like this in your movie. Because if you were to go onto TikTok and search Murder on the Dance Floor, there are thousands of videos of people making theories, reviews, dance videos, or even cosplays about Saltburn. And to prove my point of why social media is such an important detail for a movie, I want to show you one song. Now when you hear this song, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? She's a super freak, super freak, super freaky, yeah. I swear to God, if anyone said that god-awful Nicki Minaj song, I never want to hear from you ever again. What I really would have hoped you would have thought of is that final scene of Little Miss Sunshine. And of course, apart from the release date and the lack of close in one of these scenes, both movies end in quite a similar way. Because both have a very memorable needle drop in their final scene. But they did it about 10 years earlier, before TikTok really became a big thing. No, before TikTok even existed. And while Little Miss Sunshine is deemed to be a slightly better movie, having a higher IMDb and Letterboxd score, as well as gaining multiple Oscars and 80 million at the box office. And even with all of that considered, Saltburn's probably more commonly known just because of the use of social media, but it's mainly because it gained its popularity after its digital release. And this digital release is part of the reason why we still talk about Saltburn today, but there's one movie that I think did it better because it didn't need a digital release for this perfect marketing. And the film I'm talking about is Anyone But You. This is an incredible example of using a specific song in order to go viral. Now in this movie, they used the song Unwritten, that they used within 3 completely different scenes in this movie. to help get it stuck in the audience's head so then when they leave the cinema, that's the last thing they remember. And even though this movie released last year, Unwritten is still very frequently played on radios. And the film caused this song to have an increase in streams of 156%, going from 500,000 to 1.3 million, and once again making the top charts 20 years after the release of the song. And if you really want more evidence on the importance of social media, let's compare Anyone But You to one of Will Gluck's other movies, Easy A. Now, both movies very prominently use a needle drop song. Within Anyone But You, it's of course Unwritten, and in Easy A, it's Pocket Full of Sunshine. And I would argue both songs are just as prominent in their own movies. However, one very important detail to point out is the context of its release date. There is a 13-year difference between the release of these two movies, and I guarantee if Easy A released now, Pocket Full of Sunshine would be a trending song. But it's not. Because if you were to go onto TikTok, it only has about 130k posts, which sounds like a lot, but it's not compared to Anyone But You's over 600k. And this viral marketing is what separates a movie like 2001: A Space Odyssey or Little Miss Sunshine from the new Saltburn era of movies. It's rare to find someone who doesn't use social media, especially TikTok, well, that's if it doesn't get banned in the US. So if you can create a viral trend for your movie, that may just be enough for audiences to watch it. But it doesn't always work, because audiences need to enjoy your movie. You can't just throw a catchy or memorable song into your movie and expect it to do well. And I think that's a lot of the fault for the Speak No Evil remake we received last year. They picked an interesting song but didn't do anything with it to stand out. And of course, even Venom: The Last Dance did this same thing. It was a bad song to put at the end of that movie, but this awful song is why I still remember it. Which is why I don't think you should be too surprised if a lot of movies try and replicate the fame that Saltburn got. They've started a movement that a lot of new movies are beginning to follow, whether it's Anyone But You or Venom: The Last Dance. So, who knows what could be in the future? Maybe even Avengers Doomsday. Thank you so much for watching my video. This might have been quite a bit longer than I was hoping to make, but I really wanted to make a YouTube video, so I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this was somewhat informative and I wasn't just waffling the whole time. But if you got to this point, please consider liking and subscribing, and hopefully I'll make another one soon. Goodbye.